I'm not sure what to expect. I just know that we need to work hard to finish the journey.
This weekend, I am looking forward and expecting to learn more about the food industry as well as agricultural engineering, and also working on making food with people I'm not used to working with, so also working on my team building qualities as well.
My expectations are to learn about organic and non-organic foods and finish the So What journey.
I want to get the journey done so that I can do the Gold Award and finish that.
My expectations are to learn about food labeling, how we can prevent hunger in our community, and to understand more about where our food comes from and what effects it has on us as we eat it.
I put for my expectations for this weekend is having fun and meeting new people.
I'm not really sure what is happening this weekend, but I would like to complete this journey so that I can get my Gold Award.
I found the clip about the man who ate only McDonald's for 30 days very interesting. I learned that eating only fast food can cause headaches, cause mood swings, and double your chance of having a heart attack.
If I had to say a favorite part was how they traded food everywhere.
The most interesting thing about the video was that the lady had a cookie from China.
I learned that some foods in our country that are available are actually from other countries. For example, in the video, the woman, the journalist, said her daughter brought home a cookie that was made in China. I found this interesting because it makes me wonder how good that cookie can be, healthy-wise, considered how far away it is from home.
A food print is the effect that the food you take in has. So what gases are in it, how long it travels. I was kind of astonished to see that part of a hamburger came from India.
A food print is the impact on the environment that your food has, and I've never really thought about where my food came from.
I've never really thought about where my food has come from, but what I learned is that the farther distance that it's shipped is the more impact it has on the environment.
Have I ever thought about how where food comes from? Yes, my family are farmers, so of course I would. And is it surprising to me? Not really.
My group only had $5. Now, $5 is a very little amount of money. And the nutritious food is just hard to get because they're so expensive. And only using $5 won't get you a healthy meal.
My group had $10 to spend to plan a meal, and it wasn't too hard, but it wasn't really a meal that I would enjoy eating because we couldn't get some of the condiments and stuff that would go with the food, and there was no dessert.
Our group had $15 and we were able to make beef stew and had mixed fruit for dessert, and we also had milk, but it was hard to plan it with only $15.
For our meal planning, we had $20, and it was very easy to find something that we could make with that. We had a lot of options, and we ended up having a 3-course thing where we had stir fry and salad and dessert. And so families who can afford $20 per meal have more treats than others who can't.
I learned that less organic food is produced than commercial food because in commercial food there's more mass production.
I learned that organic food industries grow 10% every year.
I didn't know that they use sewage sludge in non-organic farming.
I learned that natural things aren't always good and synthetic things aren't always bad.
What I learned from the speaker today was many pros and cons about organic and non-organic foods. One pro about non-organic foods is that there's a lot of it, that a lot of people eat it, but a bad thing about it is it's very unhealthy. The pro is for organic food, a pro is that it's healthy for you, but there's just not enough for everybody.
I learned that New York State is number 2 in producing dairy, apples, and maple syrup.
I thought it was interesting that McDonald's throws away French fries after 5 minutes because it's such a waste of food and there's people out there who aren't able to eat as much as we can.
There are 540 farms in Broome County.
For every $15 spent on local farms and local food products, $786 go back to the community.
The person that I found that touched me most was Mary Catherine Nunez, and I thought that because she made a cookbook on how to make good meals that you can make with commonly used food that was found in the food pantries, and I like that because I like to cook and I only like to eat it if it tastes good, so she supports that.
Lydia Summers and Ivy Vans inspired me most. They cut down trees to rebuild a prairie. They planted black-eyed Susans, milkweed, and tall prairie grass. They got girls to learn how to preserve the prairies. And if you start with something small, you can always make it bigger.
I thought Molly Morrison was really inspiring because she did land trusts, and I thought it was really important to protect land.
Civ Lee was the woman's story that spoke to me because I agree with her idea that if you don't take a tray on Trayless Tuesdays, then you will take less, which means less will be wasted.
I chose Lydia Summers and Ivy Bonds. Their story spoke to me because they helped rebuild prairie lands in Iowa, and they helped taught other girls in school how to save prairie lands and how to keep.
I like LaDonna Redmond because she helps the Operation Push, and she helped fund the Institute for Local Grown Food.
Yes, I could tell the difference between organic and non-organic, and I liked the organic better.
I thought the organic food tasted better and more rich.
I liked the organic food better, and it was easy to tell because the organic food had less preservatives. It had less sugar and less salt, as you could tell.
So I couldn't tell the difference between the organic and non-organic carrots, but I actually preferred the non-organic carrots.
The hardest thing about the challenge was probably making sure everyone was on task, because we had girls out of the way that we didn't even know were there. It was really fun to plan our dish and then watch the judges eat it. It was so silent. And I think the least fun was making sure we had all the ingredients.
I think the hardest thing was trying to find jobs for everyone to do. And I kind of liked how everyone was working together and we were actually doing something. It wasn't like we were divided into just the people we know.
The hardest thing was waiting when I didn't have to do anything. And then the most fun was cooking, taste testing, and giving silly ideas that I still think would be awesome, like making meat cubes and putting birthday candles in the salad. And least fun was that there should be more ingredients and different spices so we could add some more variety.
The hardest part has to be the cooking. The least fun would have to be waiting for the judge to judge our food, and the most fun would have to be eating it.
I learned that a lot of food grown locally doesn't stay local and it gets shipped other places, and I'm going to try to commit to help out at food pantries or soup kitchens more often.
I will donate and volunteer at food banks and soup kitchens.
I learned about how non-organic food was very unhealthy, and from now on I will try to donate to a food bank.
I learned that there was actually a lot more hunger in the world than I thought, so I'm going to commit to donating to a food bank twice a month, and I'm going to volunteer in a soup kitchen over the summer.
Okay, so what I would commit to is going to a food bank every so often to help give out food to people. And then one thing that I learned was more about organic and non-organic, and how many people actually in my community that are suffering from not having enough food.
I can commit to start buying some foods locally and also to help donate to food pantries and help food drives. And I learned about where our food comes from and food prints.
This weekend I learned that even though something may be considered organic, it may not be best for the environment. It depends on like how far it's shipped from. And in the future I want to help with the Scouting for Food event that we have in our town and see what more we can do with that program.
I'm going to talk to my mother about buying food locally and then donating to food banks.
One thing I learned was that buying from local farmers keeps the money in the local economy. One thing I can commit to is talking to my parents about buying food from local farmers markets.
What I learned this weekend is the difference between non-organic and organic foods, about how people can't always eat healthy, and they make their own choice because they just don't have the money for the healthy foods. Something that I will commit to is donating to my local food pantry.
I will donate non-expired food items to a food bank once a month. This weekend I've learned that a lot of people who are suffering from hunger, and I'm going to try here to put food boxes in a lot of the places I go, like the Boys and Girls Club, for example.
I'll try to help out at our local food drive once a month.
I will commit to helping the hungry by working at a local soup kitchen, helping with the backpack program, and donating to a food pantry more often.
Over the course of the weekend, I learned that even if something's organic, it doesn't mean it hasn't traveled hundreds of miles to get to your plate. I think I'm going to commit to checking every expiration date before I donate something because it saves somebody a lot of work.
Over the weekend, I have learned what a locavore means, where people buy locally grown food within 100 miles, and I am committing to trying to help and donate to a food drive.
I learned about how farming, how much work it takes for the food to get on the shelves in stores, and I will contribute to help food banks and food pantries at least once a month. I will make sure when I donate food, I will check the expiration date.
This weekend, I learned about all the ways I can help hunger in my own community, and I'll commit to working at my church's food pantry.
What I've learned this weekend is how to help with hunger in my community. And one thing that I'm going to correspond with that is to help with local food banks in my community.
I learned that there's a lot of hunger in my local community, so I can commit to donating more regularly to local food banks.
One thing that I would commit to is paying more attention to where my food is from so that I can buy stuff and eat it that's like in season and grown locally.